Are you leaving already?
I was about to finish work and leave when my boss called out to me. Yes, I have to go to the hospital to see my mother today. Upon hearing that, my boss started laughing.
You're such a lazy employee. Even though I, your superior, am working overtime, my subordinate wants to go home on time.
I dislike this boss. I just want to finish my own work and go home at the regular time. Why do I have to hear such things? I am a 31-year-old company employee. My father passed away when I was young, and my mother, a single woman, raised me and my younger brother. My brother is 5 years younger than me. In place of our mother, who works from morning till night, I took care of my brother. However, once my younger brother entered junior high school, he started skipping school and his grades dropped. During elementary school, he was bullied for being from a single-parent household and being poor. So both my mother and I couldn't force him to go to school. Worrying about my brother, my mother gradually grew thinner. After living like that for about 2 years, my mother collapsed from overwork. Since then, my brother seemed to have a change of heart. After graduating from high school and getting a job, I started supporting my mother little by little. My brother expressed his desire to work instead of going to high school, but my mother and I persuaded him to graduate, and he successfully completed high school. My brother also found a job, and our lives gradually became more stable. However, my brother suddenly quit his job, claiming that he had a dispute with his boss. I wonder what really happened. We still don't know the truth. Afterwards, my brother started working as a freelance designer. Apparently, he had experience working at a company and wanted to pursue it more seriously. My brother dislikes conforming to norms and wearing suits for regular office jobs. Initially, we were worried, but now he has gained clients and is busy with work. Interestingly, my brother designed packaging for our company's products, and they have been selling like crazy. The person in charge happened to notice the designs my brother had created for other products and came up with the idea. Although my brother was busy, he agreed to take on the project because it was for the company I worked for. I was surprised when I heard the story from the person in charge and asked my brother about it at home.
I took on that project. I thought it would be more fun to keep it a secret, but I guess I've been found out.
He laughed. Hearing that conversation, our mother exclaimed,
That's amazing! Amazing!
And her excitement soared. It was truly wonderful to have days like this, where our family could laugh together. I sincerely felt that way. However, our mother mentioned that she had some abnormal results in a health checkup and needed further examinations at the hospital. That's when they discovered cancer, and it was quite advanced. Our mother had to be hospitalized. To accompany and visit her, I talked to my boss and got permission to leave work on time. My boss, who has taken care of me since I joined the company, was understanding about my mother's hospitalization. But then, 1 month later, there was a sudden personal transfer. My previous boss was relocated to another region, and a person named Cameron, who was around 50 years old, took my boss's place. It seems he is the president's relative. He had been working at another company, but apparently decided to change jobs. This boss, Cameron, is an unbearable person. He pushes his work onto others, is moody, and yells at anyone without reason when he's in a bad mood. It's like he could be sued for harassment. However, the president turns a blind eye. It seems the president doesn't want to get involved in any trouble. Cameron makes sarcastic remarks every time I try to leave work to go to my mother's hospital.
You're such a worthless employee. Despite me, your boss, working overtime, you subordinates have the audacity to leave on time.
Being spoken to like that is a daily occurrence. But I work diligently until the end of my shift, and of course, I complete my tasks. Besides, this boss of mine just hangs around the company, only interested in getting overtime pay. I've thought about quitting multiple times, but if I do, it'll worry my mother. I've been holding back my emotions, planning to quit once I'm prepared for a job change. But still, one day...
Are you leaving again today? I wish you would prioritize work over being a pathetic old man with a limited future.
Upon hearing that, I couldn't help but shout. What are you saying? My voice echoed through the hallway. As expected, Cameron took a step back and let out a forced laugh. I was furious, but I had to leave quickly or I would miss the visiting hours. I hurriedly left the company. Yet, Cameron's attacks never ceased. With my mother's situation and all, my stress kept accumulating, eventually affecting my health. When I proposed taking a leave of absence, Cameron said,
You want to take a leave of absence? Don't joke around. If that's the case, just quit. You are worthless, whether you're here or not.
Shocked by his words and lacking the energy to argue back, I chose to resign voluntarily. 2 months later, my mother passed away peacefully in her sleep. Despite having to prepare for it, I felt deeply saddened and couldn't walk without the support of my younger brother. Amidst his busy schedule, my brother managed to come to the hospital and have a final meeting with her mother. My brother said, If I hadn't gone astray back then, things might have turned out differently, expressing his regret. Mother would have surely said it's not true. I feel proud of how reliable my brother has become. While enduring the grief, I prepared the funeral. Yet, even in the midst of sorrow, we should send off our mother with smiles, as she always had a smile. And surely in heaven, our father who passed away when we were young is waiting for her, we tell ourselves. However, something outrageous happened during the funeral. As I was greeting the mourners, someone called out to me, and as I turned around, something flew towards me. Ah! Instinctively, I closed my eyes and let out a cry. Then, I heard a voice saying,
Let me purify you.
When I managed to open my eyes, standing in front of me was none other than my former boss, Cameron. It seems he threw salt at me. A little while ago, a former co-worker came and offered condolences in a normal manner. But what's with this person? If he doesn't like me, he didn't have to come all the way here. Cameron grinned and said to me,
Do you want a condolence gift?
And just as I thought, he was reaching into his pocket.
For a poor single mother like yours, 4 cents is more than enough.
He threw 4 one-penny coins at me and laughed. Of course, there was anger. But more than that, I can only wonder why he would do this. Did I do something to this person? No. I've endured numerous instances of harassment, but I never sought revenge, nor did I even consider it. Why would you? Before I could finish my sentence, Cameron interrupted me.
Since you quit, there hasn't been a good punching bag around. I thought even if you're incompetent, you at least had some guts. But I guess your spirit has decayed too. Your poor mother having a son like you is pitiful. Oh, I see. So this is a case of like mother, like son, right?
Saying that, Cameron looked down on both me and my mother. My mind went blank. Cameron continued staring into my face.
I was told to go see the president today. I don't care what happened to your parents, and I wasn't going to come at all. But the boss told me to, so I had to. I mean, why would I bother coming to such a cheap funeral?
I could feel myself trembling with anger. Though I had never hit anyone before, I felt an impulsive urge to do so at that moment. But at that instant, there was someone who stopped my fist.
Stop it, bro.
It was my younger brother. When Cameron realized that the person was my younger brother, he started laughing.
Who's this flashy-looking guy? Your younger brother? You're completely the opposite of your gloomy brother, aren't you?
He looked down on my younger brother from head to toe and made fun of him. Even my younger brother was being ridiculed, and I got even angrier. But suddenly, my younger brother burst into laughter. Cameron looked perplexed. I, too, looked at my younger brother in bewilderment. Then when my younger brother, still laughing, looked at Cameron and said, "We're ending our business with your company."
Huh?
Seemingly not understanding the meaning, Cameron stared at my younger brother. I thought to myself, I see, and turned to Cameron. What was the name of the top-selling product again? Cameron answered with the product name. Continuing, I said, "My younger brother is in charge of designing that packaging." Upon hearing that, Cameron's eyes widened. My younger brother, still laughing, said, "They just asked me to work on the next product, but I'm too busy with the other projects. And I don't care anymore about a company that made my brother quit." Cameron turned pale and started making excuses.
No, it's not like that. It's not like that. I'm sorry.
Instead of laughing like my younger brother, I confronted Cameron. It's the first time I've heard such insincere apologies. Since my younger brother shouldn't take on more work and risk his health, I can't proceed with the deal either. Cameron changed his attitude again and said to me,
Who are you talking so arrogantly? You can't even do your job. Our company was the one employing you. Rather, you should be the one continuing the deal.
My younger brother countered him. My older brother isn't someone who can't do his job, you know. Well, he's just a bit too kind, so he feels like he needs to support his boss and make them feel good about their work. That's why it's tough when someone like you is his boss. I think it's a good thing that my brother quit the company. Upon hearing those words, Cameron became furious and grabbed my brother by the collar.
Don't get cocky with that kind of drawing. I used to work for a design company too. I've been in the design business. I can handle something like that too.
Cameron said this while glaring at my brother. I heard about his previous job for the first time. I never expected him to have worked in the design industry. Upon hearing that, my younger brother starts laughing again. I know. I certainly won't forget the face of the boss who became the reason I quit. Well, I don't think you have any talent or design though. I look at my brother's face. I thought to myself, perhaps, and confirmed. My brother said that he quit his previous job because of a dispute with his boss, and it seems that the person was Cameron. My younger brother said, "After becoming a freelancer, I changed my hairstyle and dyed my hair. Well, it can't be helped if you don't recognize me." First of all, don't you remember the face of the person you forced to quit with your harassment? Your attitude hasn't changed either. I can't believe you were the one who made my brother quit. What a small world. It seems that when my brother was still at the company, he was entrusted with a big project. On the day before the presentation deadline, Cameron gave him significant criticism and contempt, even though the contempt had been deemed fine until then. My brother was furious about the unjustified changes. My brother had been subjected to arbitrary harassment by Cameron on a daily basis, and it seemed that on that day, you wanted to make my brother suffer on a whim. The truth is that my brother couldn't tolerate it anymore and quit the company. According to my brother, after he quit, Cameron's harassment became evident, and Cameron was dismissed. My brother doesn't know what happened afterward. I said to Cameron, "So, you relied on the fact that the president is your relative to change jobs? And then you repeat the same power harassment. You're someone who doesn't grow." Well, I guess you think that being relatives with the president means you won't be fired. Cameron, upon hearing this, became furious and stared at me while clenching his fist. At that moment, my brother spoke up. "When you hit someone, be prepared to be hit back. I used to be rough, so I'm used to fights." It was my older brother who looked after me and helped me like that. He supported me when I left the company to go freelance because he wanted me to do the work I loved. And because I was busy, my brother took care of all my mother's nursing needs. He took care of our mother's well-being so that I could work without any worries. Cameron started shouting,
"You're an angry one. I came all this way, and what an attitude."
I responded calmly, "I never wanted you to come here. Please, give my regards to the president." At that moment, a former colleague who had come to greet us earlier appeared.
"Cameron, it's about time you stop this."
The former colleague handed me a smartphone. As I tilted my head, he said,
"I recorded everything Cameron was doing earlier."
He then played a video.
"This is the evidence that you were being harassed by Cameron."
With those words, he showed me a video of Cameron yelling at me in the office.
"I want to help you, but I was afraid of being targeted myself. I'm sorry."
The former colleague bowed his head to me, but thanks to him, who always listened to me, I was able to overcome difficult times. Cameron turned pale as he was shown numerous pieces of evidence. Then, Cameron snatched the former colleague's smartphone and slammed it into the ground.
Ah!
When my younger brother and I looked at the smartphone screen, it was completely shattered, as if Cameron had stomped on it relentlessly. However, the former colleague said,
"Oh well, you'll have to compensate me for that."
He said. Then, he said to me,
"Don't worry, I have backup of the videos."
With those words, Cameron started to become violent, but my younger brother subdued him, and the police I called arrived quickly, taking Cameron away. It turned into quite a situation, but I felt somehow relieved. And then I made up my mind. I'm going to sue Cameron. My younger brother and the former colleague nodded in agreement. I consulted with a lawyer recommended by my younger brother and filed a lawsuit against Cameron based on the evidence of harassment given to me by my former colleague. Even the president, who had been avoiding trouble, took action and came to apologize to me. However, simply apologizing wasn't enough. I sent the president away. Later on, Cameron apparently offered a settlement, and I agreed, receiving compensation. According to the former colleague, Cameron managed to stay in the company without being fired. The former colleague also received compensation for the broken smartphone. But it's astonishing how he managed to remain there under those circumstances. However, the victims of Cameron's harassment stood up, sued the company, and collectively resigned. The former colleague was also among them and resigned after receiving a settlement. Afterwards, the company, without its competent employees, went bankrupt, and the fate of both the president and Cameron remains unknown. As for me, my younger brother's work became busier, and I ended up starting a new office where I'm running around as a salesperson. Whenever I bring in business, my younger brother says, "You know, bro, you're not someone who can't handle work after all. Thanks to you, I don't have any days off." He laughed. By the way, some of my former colleagues have moved on to new positions at our office, and we are enjoying working together as kindred spirits. Then one day, a phone call came in. We were recruiting employees because we were short-staffed, and it was an inquiry about that. It's rare for inquiries to come over the phone since most people apply online. The person on the other end was an elderly man. After listening to his story, it turns out he had worked at a design company and had sales experience, claiming to be a ready-to-go asset. I suggested he come for an interview and ask for his name, and the man introduced himself as Cameron. I thought, could it be? But the person who came for the interview was indeed that Cameron. When Cameron entered the office and saw my face, his expression was so surprised that I couldn't help but laugh. I firmly told Cameron, who was about to turn away, "We don't need someone who engages in harassment. Besides, normally, you would have researched the company's information before coming, right? Our names are listed on the website, so you must have seen it. Yet, you came here, didn't you?" I added. Cameron clicked his tongue and left the office as if to escape. Afterwards, new employees joined the office, and although we remained busy, we were enjoying our work as usual. Mom would have loved that, I murmured, thinking that if Mom found out we were working together, she would be delighted. My younger brother also smiled and nodded, and the two of us looked up at the sky.